When I used to work at e-commerce companies as head of growth or revenue, one of the very first things I'd do every morning is look at the previous day's data and try to understand what had happened and why. I'd in fact reach the office a little earlier than usual to do this ritual before meetings start, before emails and chats start flowing in, and before people start walking up to my desk. The idea was to ensure that I was not just playing catch up, to ensure that I had all the facts and figures, and most importantly, I was in a position to connect the dots. For this ritual, I'd go over the reports and the dashboards that I had, trying to understand what had happened. Often I'll find something that was interesting or did not make sense, and I would make a note to look into it. If the deep dive was straightforward enough, like a simple filter or a funnel in the analytics tool or a simple query, I'd do it myself. If it was more complicated than that, I'll have that as a task for someone in my team, an e-commerce analyst or a product or marketing associate, depending on the nature of the task. And here start the complications. The person I was going to assign this task to would probably have an existing list of tasks waiting for them in the morning. So I have to either prioritize this new task to the top of the pile, or I can wait for all the other tasks to get completed. However, all I really wanted was a briefing on the previous day so that I could decide if something warranted my immediate response. And yet, it might even be the end of the day before I get to know what the data says. Even though people throw more dashboards, more tools, more co-pilots at solving this perennial problem, the bottleneck, as you can see, is actually not the software, but the intelligence and the time it takes to use the software or the output of the software. It will take an intelligent brain to look at all the data to arrive at a narrative of what exactly happened and why. And that will also need some time. This is just one workflow among many such workflows that I had come across at different e-commerce companies across inventory, marketing, product, customer experience, operations, and so on. The nature of the task will always be to go through a good amount of data at different frequency intervals, apply some domain knowledge and business context, and summarize the findings for the e-commerce executive or manager so that they can make data-driven decisions. And so with my new venture Verkerio, the approach I'm taking to solve this problem is to identify such workflows at e-commerce companies that are repetitive and time-consuming, but which require intelligence and cannot be automated. And I'm then building solutions to do these tasks. The very first solution I have built at Verkerio is the daily workflow that I described earlier. Imagine reading a newsletter from a highly intelligent analyst who has gone through all your Google Analytics data and is summarizing for you what happened the previous day and why, so that you are more informed while making your decisions during the day. That's our revenue brief service for you. You can read more about Verkerio or how to get access to this revenue brief service at verkerio.com.